guys, we're going to learn how to hit topspin in a systematic manner. I'll give you the premise and everything. I have a ball machine coming at me, just feeding a ball every once in a while. So we'll use that to kind of emphasize what I'm talking about. But the main idea here is we want to get the ball to spin forward. So when this ball, when you're hitting it, you want the ball to go forward, right? So we're trying to think, okay, if this is the equator of the ball, we want to be able to hit that Wilson to US Open, okay, the Wilson to US Open, we want to be able to come up on that. We're going to come up on that. If we come up on it and things don't go so hot, we get direct feedback, right? So before we even begin, think about this when you're doing this, is if I hit the top of the Wilson ball, I'm going to hit the ball into the net, right? If I hit the bottom of the Wilson US Open's logo, I'm going to hit it's going to go long, right? So I want to go square in the middle here, all right? And so I'm perpendicular to the ground, but the problem is most of us hit the ball flat. So that means we're coming at the ball straight ahead at the Wilson US Open, okay? So when the ball is coming at me, my strings are going to be perpendicular to the ground, and I'm just coming straight ahead. That is a flat ball right there, okay? And there's not a lot of advantages to hitting flat unless you're putting away a ball, but when you're back here, you cannot do that because the net is higher. The net is higher than the ball will be. So you have to hit up over the net and then have it come back down. So if you're hitting flat, the only way to get it in, I have to hit it soft enough for gravity to bring it in. If I don't, and I try to hit it hard, and I have to hit really close to the net to get it in. So if I see a ball and I hit it really, really hard, I hit that about a foot over the net, but it went way too long because I hit it too hard. Gravity wasn't able to pull it down. So, it's really tough to be able to hit flat when the ball is coming and hit aggressive. So that's why we want to work on topspin. So if we can hit the ball and coming up on the ball, then we're able to see that the ball, when I hit it, the ball I can aim a lot higher, and the ball will still spin in and go in. So aiming higher allows me to have more accuracy. It also has the ball, there's a lot of other advantages too. So if I hit with topspin, when it hits the ground, it's going to jump towards my opponent. So it's not going to sit there as much. So it's going to be a lot harder for my opponent to hit. It's going to drive them back. So if someone's hitting topspin at me, I'm going to have to be back here because the ball is spinning and coming at me so much. So I have to really think about why we're doing this a little bit too, right? And the last thing about topspin, which is really cool, is that the harder I hit it, the more accuracy I have. So think about it. If I'm hitting with a lot of topspin, that allows the ball to dive down. So if I'm doing that, that means I'm hitting, the harder I hit up on the ball, so if I hit really fast on the ball, that allows the ball to dive down. So if I go down and lift up on that ball, I hit with a lot of spin, that ball dive down a lot more, so I get even more accuracy. That's why Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer, they have the highest spin per minute rotation of the ball, so the rotations per minute, so the ball is spinning so fast over there. So that allows them to hit the ball harder and higher over the net and get more accuracy, but also be aggressive. Okay, so that's the reasoning behind why we're hitting with topspin. But doing it is a little tough because, first of all, when we do this with a continental grip, we have to have a pretty solid grip here to handle the impact. Okay. So the problem is we're not going to be using a very strong grip when we hit with topspin. Okay, we're not going to be like this. Okay, so what we want to work on is trying to have a looser grip to allow the racket kind of to go through and over the ball as we go. So what I mean by that is I'm not going to actually hit like this, but if I use 2 fingers and a thumb and hit through the ball, that's kind of the feeling I want to have when I'm swinging. So I'm going to go through it, 2 fingers and a thumb, and notice my racket had to come over my shoulder. So, and also I threw it in front of me, and it just kept going in front of me. I didn't force it across, so I just go forward, and it goes all the way out naturally. I'm not forcing it. So the other problem, we have is we're trying to learn topspin, and we have this really strong grip, and we're going like this, and notice I'm forcing it over instead of letting it just come across. All right. Think about snapping a towel. If you're snapping a towel, I tell students that all the time because they usually have a sibling or someone that they're trying to, snap a towel at. Anyways, you're going to have a loose grip when you do that, right? Same idea here. It's just you're not going to snap this way, but you're going to come up on the ball a little bit. So you're going to let the racket go up through it with a nice soft grip, and then the racket, you can snap the wrist across the ball at the end. So I'm going up on it with my arm and snapping over. So up with my arm, snapping over. Up with my arm and snapping over, okay? So let's put it together and give you a few steps to do this maybe on a ball machine. First thing I would recommend you doing is putting the racket, making sure that the racket is dragging on the ground when you're doing this. So you probably don't want a ball fed so high like this, but the idea is I'm going to drag it and bring it up, okay? So I'm dragging it and bringing it up. So I'm really getting the idea that my racket is really below the ball. Okay, so when the ball is coming, I'm below the ball and I lift up and hit that. You hear that noise is that topspin where I'm cutting across the ball, okay? If I go at the ball like this, and my racket is right here, it's gonna go in the net every time because my fists and my racket head are even with the ball. So I'm trying to hit up on the ball, and guess what? I'm gonna hit the top of the ball and it's gonna go down. So my fist is here, it's gonna go in the net every time. So you gotta get below the ball. Okay, so no matter what kind of swing a pro has, recreational, if they hit topspin, the one thing is their racket head faces down before they hit it. So that's why I like to see you drag the racket head, because that's the ending point of your swing, right? So again, you're going to have the racket pointing to the ground, and you're going to just lift up and just relax. Lift up and relax that racket go over your head, okay? And this allows you to get that topspin. You'll know if you do it right, because the ball's going to dive down when you hit it, okay? So if the ball goes forward and starts carving or starts going down, that means you hit with really good topspin. You did it right, okay? So think about like watching the ball, having that spin. You should be able to see the ball spinning. If it's spinning sideways, you probably came across the ball. If it's not doing anything, you probably have your racket up here too early, right? Your racket's here and you're just hitting flat. That's flat, okay? You want to come up on the ball to get more topspin. So you got to have the racket head below, okay? So again, start with dragging your racket head down and lifting up, okay? The next thing you want to think about doing though is when you have that part is to develop a full swing now. So maybe having your racket head back here or up here, whatever you want, but the idea is you're going to have your racket drop. So again, I'm going to be here, watch. So I'm going to be here. I'm going to be dropping, and then I'm coming up with the ball. So it's that dropping at the last second. So if you can get this and you're holding it, you're doing pretty good with that. The next step, again, would be having your racket here, dropping and lifting up through the ball. So it's dropping, lifting up through the ball. And then you can start doing your unit turn. So once you're getting that idea, you have your racket here, you turn, drop your racket head, and go through the ball, right? So now you're kind of systematically doing it. If something's not going so well, just go back to drag your racket on the ground, the butt of the racket faces forward, and just come across the ball, right? Now if you're doing good with that, right, then you have your racket back like this with the racket head is above the handle, right? And then you're going to drop the handle, or the racket head, you're going to drop the racket head and go through it, right? And then you can start with the ready position and do the unit turn where my racket head is above my handle, and then I drop it and lift up through that ball. Okay? So all of those steps are going to get you to hit with really good topspin, and then you can build on it. Like, for example, if I really want to hit topspin, watch where I finish. I'm going to finish cross by my hip because that allows me to come over the ball even more. So you can play around with it. Once you get the ball to spin, anything's possible. So you can come up like that. I can just hit the ball like this with my wrist and kind of understand that if I'm in trouble and I don't have any of my body going forward, I can still snap with my wrist and get the ball over. So I'm coming here, I'm running, and I could just snap the ball over and try to get that ball in that way, okay? So think about why we're doing this. So like maybe go back to the beginning of the video so you can learn about, remember why you're hitting with topspin, and then the steps of making sure the racket head is below the handle and what the difference is between flat and hitting with normal or hitting with topspin. The last thing I did not mention is your grip. So the grip is straight down the middle for a continental. That's a flat ball. Okay, so if I'm hitting flat, I'm hitting with the continental. The V of my hand is straight down the middle. But if I want topspin, I need to put it over to the right side of my racket, okay? And the best way I tell people is to pick up the racket, just hold it down like this, pick it up, and there it is. There's your grip right here. And then all you gotta do is drop the racket head and lift up, and there's your topspin grip, okay? So that grip will be important to add to all of this, all right? So give it a shot, and hopefully you can get some good topspin going on your shots. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that, and don't forget to go to Teach Yourself Tennis to sign up for more great content through my blog. All right, thanks so much.